It's no secret that Skyrim's hand-to-hand combat was gutted compared to previous Elder Scrolls games. But if you think you need crafting skills to make Unarmed viable, have I got news for you. I'm going to show you the strategies I use to get the most damage out of a single punch, without the alchemy, enchanting, or smithing skills. To prevent the damage from becoming infinite, Marked for Death and the duplication of unique items are disallowed. So right at character creation, there are already two important decisions to make: your character's sex and their race. The sex matters because of Lover's Insight and Agent of Dibella. Each of these abilities slightly increases your damage against the opposite sex. It's true that the damage bonus remains the same regardless of which sex we choose, but Agent of Dibella doesn't check whether the target is a creature. The reason this matters is because every NPC in Skyrim has a sex. Whether an NPC is female is determined by a simple checkbox in the creation kit. But aside from a few exceptions like deer, most creatures leave this checkbox blank. This means female characters will deal extra damage to male creatures such as Spriggans, Hagravens, and Wismothers. This will come into play later. As for the character's race, the first thing that comes to mind is probably Khajiit due to their ability which grants them extra unarmed damage. While this is useful in the early game, it doesn't scale well once you have many other unarmed bonuses. The more astute among you might then think Orc, since their Berserker Rage ability doubles their physical damage. Jolly good guess, but there's actually a better option: Argonian. Now, what's so special about Argonians? They have less unarmed damage than Khajiit, and don't have any ability that increases their damage. And this is true, Argonians are inferior. At least, until they become a vampire. For some god's-forsaken reason, the right-handed unarmed power attack for Argonian vampires has a 5 times damage multiplier, as opposed to the normal 2 times for all other races. Before doing anything else, you want to get the Necromage perk and the Bone Wolf's Revenge ability. Because you're a vampire, these will increase the potency of your self-cast spells and certain perks by about 56%. One such affected perk is none other than Fists of Steel, since it works by giving you a hidden ability. The highest bonus you can get from Fists of Steel is normally 18 damage, since that's the base damage of Daedric Gauntlets. But the game actually checks if the gauntlets have a keyword that matches one of the perk entries for Fists of Steel. In the case of Daedric Gauntlets, the keyword is Perk Fists Daedric. However, Daedric Gauntlets aren't the only apparel with this keyword. Ancient Nord armor is mislabeled as Daedric for smithing purposes, and the gauntlets also count as Daedric for Fists of Steel. Ancient Nord armor is much easier to come by than Daedric, especially since crafting isn't allowed. But why stop there? The individual buffs aren't exclusive, so if you could equip multiple pairs of gauntlets at once, you could get the bonus for each level of Fists of Steel. You can achieve this using your preferred method of armor stacking. Here's a list of the keywords and some of the gauntlets that work with them. Things get a bit more tricky once you reach Ebony, but light Stalrim gauntlets have the Perk Fists Ebony keyword. This means that the Deathbrand gauntlets will work for this bonus. As for Dragonbone gauntlets, the only way to get them without crafting is to find them in the wild at level 40 or above. To make the grind easier, you could get the Black Market power from the Untold Legends Black Book. The Dremora Merchant has a 1 in 600 chance to spawn with Dragonbone gauntlets. If you don't get them, you can punch and reload to reset his inventory like with other merchants. At this point, you want to get the Gloves of the Pugilist and Ring of the Beast for around 47 more damage from their enchantments. This brings our total unarmed damage to 236. But there's one more thing you can do to add to your unarmed damage, and wouldn't you know, it involves becoming a hybrid. First, you need to reach level 46 to get the most powerful versions of the werewolf abilities. After that, become a hybrid, and use the bug from my animal only video to gain the werewolf abilities in human form. You could use the Ring of Hircine, but it's not so hard to open the menu directly after activating beast form. You can tell if you got the timing right if beast form is grayed out. Then equip the Vampire Lord power and use it right after the transformation animation begins. The reason for this specific setup is because the werewolf abilities are applied a few seconds after you become a werewolf. So if you time your transformations such that you're a Vampire Lord when you get the werewolf abilities, the unarmed damage bonus will be affected by Necromage and Bone Wolf's Revenge. This increases the unarmed damage gained from 60 to around 94. Note that guards will be hostile to you with this bug active, but transforming into a werewolf and back will disable it if you need to enter a town. With all the base damage increases covered, let's get to the multipliers. The Agent of Dibella effect is a quest reward from the Heart of Dibella, which can be started at the Temple of Dibella in Markarth. This increases your damage against NPCs and creatures of the opposite sex by 10%. You'll also need at least one word of the Dragon Aspect Shout, since it increases power attack damage by 25%. You can find a word wall at Bloodskull Barrow in Solstheim. The Bone Wolf's Revenge power is supposed to increase damage against undead, but sadly this only works while attacking with a weapon. There is another source of extra physical damage though. The Fortify Marksman Alchemy effect erroneously buffs all physical damage. Without crafting, the most powerful source of Fortify Marksman is the Elixir of True Shot. You can find a guaranteed sample in Volenroot's boss room. The final buff is specific to dragons. By talking to Esbern after Alduin's Wall, you can receive the Dragon Slayer's Blessing, which gives you a 10% chance to deal double damage to a dragon with a critical hit. And since dragons are creatures, they're also affected by the Agent of Dibella power. Combining all this, our right-handed power attack against dragons reaches over 8,000. That's enough damage to kill Alduin in one hit at his max strength on Master difficulty, or in 2 hits on Legendary. The chance of getting 2 crits in a row is only 1% though, so good luck with that. In Skyrim, difficulty doesn't affect the amount of health enemies have, but instead directly modifies the damage you deal. If you were to change your difficulty to Novice, all your attacks would deal double damage. With that final piece of forbidden knowledge, the maximum damage you can deal in a single punch without crafting is 16,180.15 damage. If you're looking for more ways to improve your unarmed gameplay, check out this short that teaches you how to block with your fists. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.